Oh, audio's on, is it? Hello. Oh, have I had some problems this week? I hope he doesn't fart very, very loudly. Well, that's something else I need to fix, clearly, just like the chat. Hello and welcome to Sunday. It's another live stream, and OBS is biting me on the ass once again. Sorry about the creepy guy in the night breathing. That's another issue I need to fix later as well. I had a complete flip out of OBS yesterday, which is far from ideal when OBS is my only way of recording and the way I do everything. And right now, I'm a little bit busy, and it has caused me havoc. So, I'm hoping this is working because I have had to rebuild OBS from scratch. Every profile, everything. You'll see the chat looks a little bit different, and that is there. I'm not sent out. I need to fix that. No, not that. Give me the cam. Where's the camera? That one. I need to move myself. That's a bit better. I haven't sent it up. Honestly, horrific. Just OBS is doing my nut in. I love OBS, right? And it is a phenomenal piece of software. It is as stable as foundations made of sand, and that is the real problem with it. And somehow I closed it and I reopened it, and the profile was causing it to crash, and I ended up having to delete the main profile I have for everything. So, as you guys can see, things do look a little bit different. The chat's probably a little bit bigger at the moment. I've managed to get chat working on the side thanks to Stream Elements. I really do appreciate the money that I don't give them. Does help. And the chat is on the side, and I think that looks okay, actually. You guys tell me what you think of the chat. How is that visible? Does it need to be bigger, smaller? I need to mess with it, and it's been weeks and weeks of problems with OBS. But we will see how it goes tonight. Now, looks good. Good. That's good news, at least. Something is working. And I was literally messing with something 10 seconds before the stream started. Hence the heavy breathing. So what I've learned then I've got to do is on the profile for the pre-show, I've got to turn the audio off, clearly. So if I just go to the pre-show a minute, 1 second, you guys can still hear me. So what you don't have is music, I'm guessing, because I ain't seeing music there. And you still have audio. So I need to do some fixing on this later. Okay, we will. Okay, anyway, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to this week's live stream. What a weird week it has been. Hope you are all safe and well. We're going to talk tonight a little bit about a new camera from Runcam for the original DJI FPV system. That was a bit unexpected, and I do actually have one on the way. I did know about this, and I'd forgotten about this, and they hadn't actually sent it, but now they have sent it, so I'm going to talk about that later on as well. We're also, what else are we going to talk about? I've forgotten. We're going to talk about the AOS Supernovas, because I have them. Yes, we're going to just talk a little bit about the Supernovas because I do have them in stock. Haven't flown them yet. I haven't had chance. I've been tied up doing some other stuff, which you'll find out about this week. And we'll talk a bit about the digital FPV wars at the start because, man, are we in the wars right now. And my video probably didn't help that in the week, but that was very much a a video talking about the facts of the situation, and my God, did we get some feedback on that. And we'll talk about anything else that you want to talk about along the way as well. Now, I'm assuming I'm not stepping over. JB's not back, I've been told, so I was a bit later tonight, but JB still is missing. If anyone has seen Joshua Bardwell, please send your pictures in. I believe he is missing in action. whatever JB is doing, I hope they're paying him really big money. But yeah, JB is missing. I hope he's well as well, wherever he is. I did see a post on Facebook from him, so I don't think he's completely vanished. We've had some interesting videos this week from the likes of Chris Rosser, has done some motor testing. I haven't watched that, and this is actually Chris's first bit of motor testing since he released these, and these do look phenomenal, so we will talk about that. And as always, we will talk about anything else along the way. I posted a new vid today. I haven't had a chance to see. I've been fixing OBS. So, okay, so the first thing I want to touch on is the drone wars. Because on Monday, Tuesday, I put out a video talking about the allegations that have been leveraged against DJI. And the allegations are that they are behaving in an anti-competitive manner by forcing dealers to only stock O3 and not stock Avatar or HDZero based bind and fly quads. Now, I did that video in a very specific way. I tried to lay out the facts as they were on the internet at the time, and actually since then it's come out that the messages are apparently from GEP-RC. I can't tell you because GEP-RC are a company who has never responded to an email from me, never responded to a message, and didn't respond to my reach out on this subject this week, and didn't even reply. And frankly, I think that is crap. Even if it is to say, sorry, this isn't something we can talk about, ignoring it is frankly nonsense. And they're not a company I've got any experience of, but they have really gone down in any estimation that I had, that they're not even willing to answer emails. And I have never dealt with GEP-RC, yet they won't answer emails. And I sent it to support, I sent it to sales, yet crickets. And it does make me wonder if they are very close to DJI, because the only other company who doesn't respond to my emails is DJI. And look, I'm not expecting any special behavior, but if you're not responding to messages, that's not very good. That's like not good. And I can openly say other companies that I have dealt with, SpeedyBee, iFlight, they're all over the message. Any problems, they're on top of it. So I can't really say, but yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. So I can't comment on GEP, but they are the alleged victim, and I'm going to use this very, very loosely. Maj FPV, you can on Discord, yeah, if you want to send me something on Discord, are very, very the victim in all of this. You've never seen this dude fly? No, I don't fly that much, apart from you'd have seen a little bit of flying in Monday's video, a little bit of flying in the video before that, a little bit of flying in the video before that. Mosey Fool FPV, if you want to see me flying all of the time, you won't. Goodbye, unsubscribe. Really simple. End of. I will put it as bluntly as that for you. I do not post huge amounts of flight footage for varying reasons. And there are a number of varying reasons. All very valid. All my business and not yours. So good luck. So we've got this situation where GEP-RC are the alleged victim in DJI putting pressure to stop manufacturers, or at least vendors, selling other makes of bind and flies. Now, this subject was quite interesting because I got every type of response on this video. I had, he's a shill for DJI. You can tell because he's holding a set of goggles. He's clearly anti-DJI because all he does is make videos about how bad DJI is. And you had everyone else going, he is promoting Ross's gear, and I can't remember what the other one was, which made me laugh. So the very reality is I upset everyone, which means I probably got the tone of the video right. Now, what is quite funny is people, and this comment on Facebook got me, which is he's clearly in DJI's pocket because he doesn't see this as a problem. And in that video, I said, I don't see it's a problem, even if DJI are doing it, and even if. And my opinion on that is because I believe the avatar bind and fly market is so small, it isn't a problem for Cadex because it's not going to affect them that much. That's why I said it's not a problem. What I find... Oh, and Rotor Riot, that was it. And what I find amusing is people try to justify their own biases by trying to find a reason why you don't agree with them. And if you don't agree with them, that must mean you are either a shill or in their pocket. What people can't quite get their head around is how actually bias works. And rather than just sit there and go, oh, his opinion is different to mine, they have to, in their heads, come up with some logical reason that he is saying the things he is, and therefore that must mean he's in their pocket. Now, bias is a really simple subject. Bias isn't having a bias. Bias is about acknowledging it and balancing for it. So, I will say this. Overall, I prefer DJI FPV. 03 specifically. However, I will say that Avatar is right up there with it right now. And there's a reason I'm saying that. But overall, if you're going to say to me which system you want to choose to go and get a flight done and get some footage, I will choose 03. When I'm doing my reviews, though, I accept that inherent bias and label it and then counteract it. Anyone who says they're not biased is full of crap. What you have to do is counteract any bias you have. You have to first acknowledge it, first understand it, secondly understand it, and thirdly, then put things in place to counteract that bias. What is the worst thing is people who say, I am not biased. Everyone is. You just have to understand your own internal biases and then put in place measures to ensure that you're being fair. And that's what it's about. But it did make me laugh, and the feedback on the video was good. You know, look, people understood it. It was never about saying DJI is right or wrong, and it was never about Cadex saying right or wrong. It's about saying this is apparently what's happening, and I will stress this again. There is zero evidence any of this is true. Even that image, which is apparently GEP-RC, means nothing. We live in a world where someone can use AI, right, to make Cher sing a Madonna song or do anything else. You cannot believe. We're in a world now where pretty much nothing can be believed anymore. Really, that's the reality of it. So, and in fact, even if GEP-RC said it, doesn't mean it's true. Now, I will say this. In the background, I have spoke to some unnamed companies this week who may or may not sell Avatar HD systems. They may or may not be continuing to sell them. What I haven't spoke to is GEP-RC. And what I can tell you, the feedback I've had is this. Most of the companies are very touchy about Avatar. Number one, for the reliability. And number two, because of Cadex. Frankly, Cadex are not a company that has a A1 stellar reputation in the FPV world. from other manufacturers and vendors. And as a result of that, people are cagey. And if you think about this, on a bind and fly, you need to make sure that you're selling a product that isn't going to break down, isn't going to cause problems, or cause the user problems, which is going to result in warranty issues. So I can completely understand why some people may think, let's just stay with O3. And then you could have DJI come along and say, and if you actually go exclusive O3, we'll let you have the ear units for $10 or $20 cheaper, which means they get more margin from the quad. That is the reality of business. Your car dealers don't sell brand new cars from every other make. Most of the time. It really is normal business. Now, do we like the fact that DJI could be putting pressure on companies? No, but that's the reality. And there's no, no one is forced. The term that's been used is people are forced. No one is forced. Here's a real simple example of that. I put out last year, before the release of O3, the heatsink video that showed... Yeah, remember, Cadex didn't make the Vista. There's the irony. That showed an O3 ear unit under a heatsink before launch. I actually made that video before I had the O3 ear unit in hand via a dealer. DJI asked to take that video down. I said, well, the dealer asked me to take the video down from DJI because it went through them. But I was asked to take that video down and I said no. I offered to return the O3 ear unit in advance and say, okay, we'll call off the deal. I won't be involved in release. I'll send it back. And in the end, they said no. DJI could not force me to take that video down. They couldn't force me, even by me having the risk of losing O3, because I turned around and said, okay, take it away. And why did I say that? I said it because I'd already had a look. I had enough information up front anyway. So it was like, sod it. What's the point? I'll wait. It's not a problem. I knew enough about it anyway. So no one is forced. So to say DJI is forcing is nonsense. It's nonsense. The reality is we don't know. The probability is DJI are probably offering incentives. I get why manufacturers are doing it. It isn't as black and white as saying DJI is good and Cadex are bad. Cadex have their own reputation to deal with and their own reliability to deal with. And as a result of that, that is going to cause people some issues. I forgot to put that in the title tonight, the Cadex 4K VTX. We will talk about that in a minute. So, yeah. So that's the reality. And I get why people would choose DJI in a bind and fly. Now, does it mean less people are going to have visibility of Avatar? Does it mean people may not have as equal opportunity at the beginning? Maybe. But DJI is a big brand. Big brand. So, look. It's a non-issue in my opinion. There are some very vocal people on this on Facebook. And look, it's nonsense. It's business. If Cadex want more businesses making bind and fly quads, then they need to do more deals with those businesses to get it. It's that simple. It really is. Catching up on the chat. But what was amusing was the abuse I got from it. Yes, so the Walksnail have released a new VTX this week, and we will talk about that a little bit in a minute. And I will talk about the 4K. I know something, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it about the 4K. There's a 4K camera coming, but we'll wait until we talk about that in a minute. We will wait. 2 seconds. I'm trying to find my mouse pointer. No, I was told something which I don't know is true. catch him back up on the chat a minute. Hello, Failsafe GMI. Hello, everyone. So for the guy who was talking about flying, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not this channel. Go watch Bot Grinder. Bot will give you all of the flight material you ever need. Yeah, I don't post a lot of flight. I don't. There are a number of very, very good reasons for it. Number one, I'm in the UK. And anyone in the UK will know why. And Rotor Riot. Yes, I was shilling Rotor Riot. Now, I will address that. There was an amazing comment, and I loved this comment on it, right? That was Mads Tech shilling his mates at Rotor Riot again. Clearly, they were not here when I ripped Drew apart last year. If anyone here thinks I have any form of relationship with Rotor Riot, you are mental. Because you all know I annihilated Drew last year at the release of Walksnail when he used the words, "You don't get to know." So if anyone thinks I have a relationship with Rotor Riot, you are mad. The reason I use Rotor Riot is because they are a big US dealer and they have a very nice layout of their website of all of the different quads. And I have nothing against Rotor Riot at all. So why would I not use them? My audience is largely American, with the UK and Germany following suit. It's an American dealer. The website is laid out nicely. You know, look, you can't knock them for what they have, the way their website is listed. And look, you know, I've been more than vocal about Fat Shark. But if you go on their website, look, clearly I've not got NVIDIA broadcast working today. Is it actually working? Let's have a look. Clearly not. Is this going to work? Me doing this live is a risk. That's funny. Shall I try to add it? Oh, this is a risk. This is a risk. Let's go for it. I forgot to add NVIDIA broadcast. Ah, there you go. That was a risk. This could have ended badly. So, if you go on Rotor Riot's website, first of all, they have lots of new starter kits, which is very nice. And when you go onto their ready-to-fly drones and their ready-to-ship drones, look, they've got a nice list which says Avatar ready-to-fly, O3, and analog. So it's just nice and easy for me to show it because it's there. And if you go on the analog Avatar HD ready-to-ship page, they've got it all listed up. I get no benefit from showing Rotor Riot, but why not? It's got a good website, so I'll use it. Ooh, the chat does not like me changing scenes. So yeah, that's why I chose Rotor Riot. You know, people will agree, some people don't. Drew seems a nice guy. What happened with him? It was just Drew's stupid response. Look, when Avatar came out, it looked a lot like DJI, and I mean a lot. And it does. And everyone was like, is it DJI? Is it DJI? And he put this quite confrontational video up on Facebook saying, basically, you don't get to know everything you want to know. And my argument was, we don't get to know any of the specs about a product they were asking $600, nearly $800 for a pre-order for. And I just ripped him apart. Look, Drew, I believe, is a good guy. And look, I have had a message with him after that point one day about something. And he is a genuinely, I think he is a good guy. I have nothing against Drew. He's not a bad guy. I think that response was ill-advised, but he is a good guy. He really is a good guy. So, DJI doesn't contain any Avatar doesn't contain any DJI check. They are similar in the sense of the ICs, you could say the ICs have similar lineage, like an Intel processor has similar lineage to an AMD processor. That's what you could argue them on. That's the easiest way to think about it. But Drew isn't a bad guy at all. He genuinely is. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Look, Drew is. It was just a silly comment, and I ripped him apart for it. Well, that was it. So it is what it is. I think he's a good guy. I actually really enjoy the Road to Riot videos when Drew is in them. Bobby seems to be in most of them these days, which is good. I like Bobby, but I do like watching the Drew ones. Drew and Sean. I think Sean is a great guy in the Road to Riot videos as well. Sean does some real cool stuff. And Sean is largely responsible for the Road to Riot backpack, I believe, which looks a good bit of kit. To be honest, if I didn't have a backpack, I'd be looking at the Road to Riot one. I'm still tempted to order one in to actually review. Because it does look a very nice bit of kit. And I was actually in a situation today where that backpack would have been ideal. Guys, there are people asking me about things I cannot answer. When it comes to embargoes, NDAs, and things like that, I'm sorry, I cannot tell you what you want to know. There will be videos published on this channel this week about products. There you go. That's as much as I can tell you. You don't get to know. I've had a very busy weekend, I can tell you that. Just catching down on the chat. So that's the situation. So Road to Riot, no. Anyway, we should talk, while someone has brought up Cadex Walksnail, we should talk about... No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this. This is a new version of the Version 2 VTX. And what they've basically done is released it with the dual antennas again. So what they've done is reworked it. And I'm going to have to order one of these in because I'm going to have to do a teardown of it so I can put it on repair.wiki. For some reason, I accidentally deleted all of my images of the V2 I did the first time and didn't upload them to repair.wiki. So I'm going to be doing that this week again. And I'm going to get one of these in. And really, it is the same V2 VTX, but with dual antennas, dual power amps. Now, the big question people will have is, what improvement in range will this have over the V2 on the single antenna? Now, if we look at it on Vista compared to DJI Air Unit, it's minimal. But I'm not convinced the Avatar RF system is quite as tuned, and I reckon there's probably about 5 to 10% in it for Avatar users. Probably 5 to 10%. Not a lot, but maybe 5 to 10%. I think. I don't think it's great. I do believe their dual antenna V1 was a better VTX in this regard. So, but we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see. But it is available. And what is interesting on this is that they do label it 4K ready. It will have a dual amplifier. Yes, it will. Now, there is a 4K camera coming from Cadex. It will work with this VTX, and I believe it will also work with the older VTXs as well. it may be a little bit more complicated than just a camera. Now, as for what this looks like, we don't know. Brundle Flies just said probably recording 4K only. Yes. Look, you're not going to have 4K live feed, right? Be clear on that. Avatar HD as a system can do up to 1080p max. That is not changing anytime soon. Okay? Over the air will be 1080p max. That's in stone as of today, and probably until they move to their next system, if they did. Okay? No one does live 4K. No one does as of today. So if there's ever an Avatar 2, maybe you could get... I don't ever see 4K coming in the live feed. There's just no point. I was flying Avatar 1080p today, and I'll show a little bit of footage of that in a minute. It looks really good. That you don't need 4K in live feed. However, they're going to probably do 4K recording. Now, is that on the existing DVR? Is that on a separate board? That remains to be seen. I believe this isn't as simple as just a camera, as I understand it. Now, it won't be long. I was told by Cadex in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so you won't have to wait long on this. But it isn't as simple as just like a camera. What I don't know is, will there be, you know, an add-on board with a DVR, or will there be something else? And then there's the question of what impact that has on latency. Because remember, Runcam actually tried this on the Vista with a separate board for the camera. Does the Avatar have the same range as DJI FPV? Avatar will outrange DJI in the right conditions because it has no range limitation. My new Walksnail VTX turned red after one press for binding, both firmware match but black screen. So you press it, it should go solid red, and then you press binding on the goggles, and then they should connect. Oh, it doesn't turn red. Well, that's weird. Is it possible the button's damaged? Maybe would be like originally unit when recording 1080p and feed 720. Yeah, something like that. So there is a 4K camera coming. It won't be long. We don't really know the ins and outs. For now, we do have a new VTX. So dual antennas, 32 gigs. Fairly decent. Nice to see. We still don't have the HDMI input. What is interesting, though, if you were to have a separate board, could that have a HDMI input? Or a version that does? Orqa is HD ready. Orqa remains HD ready. Nearly there. Nearly there. But yeah, look, it's interesting. I think it's very nice. Slight redesign on the heatsink. They seem to be doing a lot right now because obviously there's a lot of noise around whatever this is. And I could say that you don't get to know. But you will. Soon. I can't tell you stuff. I'm sorry. Now, I need to catch up on the super chats quickly. Quad Bay City Bay Area, $5. My new Walksnail VTX doesn't turn red after one press. So, I would say you either have a bad button, Quad City. If it's not that, have you tried it on another power source just to make sure it's not a power issue? Does anything change? can you update the firmware on it? Will it let you update the firmware is the first question. If you press and hold, does it reboot and update the firmware? Button works after 8 seconds for writing. Okay, that's change red. You don't have to you don't have to keep giving me super chats. Change red for writing. Does it flash red? Remember, the process for flashing is you press and hold the button roughly 8 to 10 seconds. The LED will go off, and then it should come on and flash like this for about 2 seconds, and then stop. That is the process for flash binding. Yeah, flash after 8 seconds. So it's binding. So it's updating, but not binding. That's weird. I'll be honest. If that's weird. It could be a bad button, but if it's flashing for that, it should work. Flash after 8 seconds. See, what should happen is you press, it goes red, you press bind on the goggles, and it should connect. The only thing I can say is if it still doesn't work, speak to Cadex. It could be a bad ear unit. They have had a few. The Butch Biker and the Dutch Biker. €99. Thank you for that. 99 cents. Thank you for that. Brand new VTX. Downgrade the firmware. Mind. Did you downgrade it to a version that might not work with it? Because remember, the newer VTXs need the newer firmware. If you went to a version that is below when that VTX existed, it could have bricked it. Because the newer VTXs can't use the older firmware. I tell you what I would do. Get your firmware. Get your firmware. Artificially change the name. Put the latest firmware on it, right? Artificially change the name to a number higher. Go only one higher, though. Don't go a lot. Than the latest version. And then try flashing it again. Giovanni Espanio, any news about WTF FPV? Is developer continue on V2 or maybe something in a goggle 2? No. Okay. So it will force it to a new reflash the firmware. Basically, the FPV WTF project now is in hold. So the guys there are not exploring anything deep on the DJI 03 or V2 or Goggles 2. There's really very little going on the V2s. The guys have done a huge amount of work. But pretty much they're now a stable stalemate. There is close to there is close to no hunger from the dev team to do anything else, really. There is things they have, but no use for. So if we take today, there is no public route for 03. Don't think that means that there isn't necessarily a private route for 03. But it isn't published. Now, the reason you wouldn't publish it is if there's nothing to really use it for, then there's no point burning the exploit. That stands for Walksnail as well. There's only, if we think about what drove the V2 interest was the fact that we wanted canvas mode. MSP OSD, but canvas mode. That isn't there in 03. 03 works fine in Betaflight. Yes, iNav users don't have what they want, but iNav users are not big enough to really cause a dev team to really want to look at it. If someone wanted to come along and work with the FPV WTF team, they are open to new devs working with them at any point. But what they're not doing is running around trying to come up with solutions to problems that don't exist. It is basically complete, as Brandon Beans just said. Yeah. So from an 03 point of view, there's like no interest in having root public, because what can you can't do anything with it. You just can't do anything with it. There's, so you don't release something that the manufacturer then may close in the next firmware update that you then haven't used and can't use moving forward. Yeah, it would be nice if DJI actually fixed their system. I fully agree with you, Brandon. It would be nice if they actually talked to the community a little bit. And I will say this, right? I was talking to Cadex FPV quite a lot this week, and they are very, very active. Okay, look, I have been open with Cadex and you guys on. Look, they have their plus points and they have their bad points, but they are very, very communicative and they're very interested in working with the community. And I'm not saying they're perfect. As a company, I think they have done some shady stuff. Some of their advertising remains so. However, they are listening. And DJI are not. So, and I'll be honest, I was flying Avatar today in 1080p mode, and it looks real good. Real good. Very close to 03. Not quite, but very close to 03. Digital FPV sound would be amazing. Yeah, we would love that. DJI is a different animal. You have to understand, DJI, I think people forget just how big DJI is. And this is why I was saying earlier, people saying about DJI being evil. DJI are not evil, but they are enormous. And I mean, comparing Cadex to DJI is like comparing, I don't know, your local PC shop to Apple. They are just in a different league. They're not even in this, that, it's unimaginable, the difference. Just to give you an idea, and I don't believe this number is correct today, okay? It's not even Nike Reebok, I don't think. I think Nike versus someone selling clogs. DJI, it was said in about 2017, and I don't know if these numbers would stand today, that DJI had 11,000 engineers. Just think about that number for a minute. 11,000 engineers. That was a number that was bandied around in about 2018. They are huge. Now, I don't think they're quite that big today. There's been a lot of layoffs. That's why they're so big, because they're evil. It's not as simple as that. They don't just look. Genuinely, everyone I have ever dealt with at DJI have been fantastic. Honestly. Never have I dealt with a person bad. You just get caught in the chain sometimes with them. Look, when I was supporting on the groups, the people were always amazing. The people genuinely were. Just as a corporate entity at times, you're dealing with a very different mentality. DJI, and I don't think they'd probably have 11,000 today, but they are huge. So they made a pact with the devil to grow like they do. That's just a look. DJI in China is seen as like, I'm trying to think in America. Okay, here's a question: who would be like the number one company to work for in America? And I don't mean money alone. I mean brand, You know, prestige, Microsoft, Google. You cannot tell me Google is seen. NASA, I get, right? Nah, I cannot believe Google is seen as amazing. You know, a good brand, Taylor Swift. I'm sorry, I don't believe Google. NASA's got to be up there. Yeah, look, DJI are seen as a amazing brand in China. McDonald's. When I went on Jim Jeffries' comedy podcast, he knew the DJI brand exactly. DJI is seen as one of the best in China to work for. They have, hello Andy, by the way, yeah. They have all of these graduates coming out of university wanting to work for DJI. They're not evil. They're just big. And I mean big. And that's the difference. It's not for the bad. Oh, it could be a best place to work. As a company, Google is pretty evil. Come on. Let's not pretend that Google isn't. As a company, they are right up there with the best of them. You know, DJI is a global tech giant based out of China. And in China, that is a global name. Not sure, worse than Apple. I would always put my bets with Apple over Google. I still fundamentally think, let's do an evil chat. I still think Apple generally puts the user, at least they think about the user. I think Google will scrape. What have they cancelled in the last 20 minutes that they promised to keep going for 10 years? Have they cancelled anything since I've been on stream? Apple is, look, I am an Apple user. I've genuinely only had amazing service from that company. Even when it was my fault. Apple has, look, they'll generally, Google Stadia, look, Google will cancel, they'll cancel something before I finish this stream. Lockheed, yeah, some big old brands. Apple is big, and not necessarily a company that big is all good, but I do think Apple genuinely puts the customer at the beginning of the product, and whilst they do sometimes make forced decisions, in the general it's done for the right reason. I will not own an Android phone for my own personal use. I promise you. It will never happen. Never. As much as I looked at the new Pixel and thought, no. Never. I would be a Mac man if I could all of the way, because it just works. And before anyone says you like your what if you wanted to do X? When was the last time anyone actually did something on a bloody Android phone that required root or anything outside of the walled garden that Android's in? And this argument of Apple lock you down is BS. Complete and utter BS. I do like the idea of the Pixel. The Pixel is, if I ever owned an Android phone, it would be a Pixel. If I did ever own one. I'd actually like to test drive an Android phone. The Pixel. Google thinks about your data and then uses it. I would like, I know they own YouTube. That's why I can tell you they're evil. Tell us about the new USB-C features. Yeah, pretty good. I had an iPhone 15 for about 4 days and I sent it back. I had the 15. I have an Android phone. I have to have an Android phone. I have to use one on a daily basis. It's not mine, and I won't use, and up to this point, I have never bought myself an Android phone. That doesn't mean I don't own them. I've just seen nothing that suits me. Nothing that suits me. I'd be tempted on a Pixel. They ain't sending you a Pixel now. I would be tempted on the Microsoft phone. Yes. Windows Mobile, for those who remember. Right. Anyway, we need to get on with this nonsense. The next thing we're going to talk about is... we should talk a little bit about the Supernovas because they have arrived. Yes, Chris has sent me these. Let me get the... just checking. You guys can't see anything, that's all. The Champagne Supernovas. Yes, Chris Rosser sent me a set of Supernova motors. Yes. Measure them, haha. I actually know the size. I don't need to measure them. It has already been reported online. Rosser Shill, I am going to show you them quickly. I will be doing... I don't think review is the right term because I don't do motor testing. But I am going to be trying them and I'll give you some thoughts. Did they have customers in mind when they created Lightning standards with cryptographically signed licensable chips? Yes, but I can actually balance that because for anyone... All right, before I get back on the Supernovas, I'm going to balance that. Right, wait a minute. I'm going to go on this one. You got me. Here is why there is a very good argument for what some manufacturers do. Two seconds. Let me get it. Let me get it. I need to find my history because I've watched a video. Actually, I can get it off my Discord. 2 seconds. I posted it on my Discord. For those who used to watch Lewis Rossman, Paul, who was at Lewis Rossman, has his own YouTube channel. And he's only got 2,000 subscribers. And I'm going to share this. So I'm going to start this again because I'm going to put this up as a little one. For anyone who used to watch Lewis Rossman, Paul, who worked there, now has his own YouTube channel. Now, for those who don't know, Lewis Rossman is obviously the channel that used to do all of the repairs. Now, just trying to find where I actually had his YouTube. He is a very good guy. And... oh, I've lost it. Wait a minute. Why have I lost it? There it is.
Look at the wear pattern on this.
Right.
Look at how close worn out copper and everything is.
Pause.
To that next...
Stop it. There you go. Right. I got to get past the adverts to show you this. But yeah, Paul is a great guy, right? And he now has his own YouTube channel. I would strongly recommend you consider subscribing for it. Now, this repair he does, right, is as a result of someone using a cheap charge cable on their device, non-authorized, and what it has actually done, let me just try to find it in the right spot so you can see it. The cable's pins are misaligned. And what they've actually done is shorted between the pins and blown the main USB-C controllers, CDT32s, I think it is, as a result of the cheap cable. And it's actually done it on all of the USB ports. you can see there at a close-up image where the pads were coming in compared to where they should be. They should be coming in to the alignment of that, and they're coming into the alignment of that. And it has blown this mark as a result of using a cheap cable that doesn't conform to the correct standard. So when we talk about manufacturers putting stuff in their cables, there are good reasons for it if it stops things like this. And I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying I like it, but there are reasons for it. The problem is, it's USB-C is 20 volts. It also helped creating the USB. Apple also created, and I'm not saying they're perfect, but it's not as simple as saying, oh, they're ripping people off because they're putting things in. Do I use Mac Studio? No, I haven't bought. I've been looking at getting one, but I still haven't. I'm still not convinced the I would love to try a Mac Studio. I haven't had a chance. I'd like to try an M2. I'd love to try one for a week. If it worked and did what I wanted, I'd buy it. But I haven't think. So anyway, I got caught up on that little thing. The AOS Supernovas. So, Chris has sent me a set of Supernovas. We're going to take a quick look at them before we move on to the new camera from Runcam. Now, if you haven't seen, this is what they look like. I'm not going to... Chris has his video on them, but I thought I would show them to you in real world by a third party. This is what the motors look like. They are very, very nice, is the first thing I will say. Now, yes, there has been a lot of controversy around these motors. Chris said himself, they're not actually 2207s. They are another number. The number has been published. The very basics are they're a little bit bigger than 2207s, but I had a long chat with Chris this week, and I'm not going to measure it. I understand what he's done because I'll be honest with you, right? Before we look at them again, it's not as simple as about the size. There's more to it than meets the eye, which I'm not going to talk about because I agreed not to. There is some secret sauce in what Chris is doing that he doesn't want to fully get out until it gets out there, and I understand why. Now, as for why you would call the motor a 2207 when it may not quite be that number exactly, websites have all of their motor sizing basically listed in 2207, 228, 2209. If he called it something else, they would put it into the wrong category. So he has called it 2207 because if he doesn't, it's going to end up in a category where people may not realize what it is or what it's for. And I understand that. Now, they are absolutely phenomenal looking motors. They are really, really nice. Really, really nice. I can't zoom in any more on that camera. What we'll do is, let me get the focus in. Just getting in a bit closer. Ooh, there you go. Just so you guys can see, that is the underneath of the motor there. There you go. So that is the underneath of the motor there. The windings, they all look the same when they burn. Yeah. And genuinely, they are really nice. They are nice. Now, it remains to be seen. Poles, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes. 12 poles. It remains to be seen if they live up to the hype or the price. But they are absolutely stunning with regards to how they look. But obviously, how they look isn't important. Are they really unsmokable? I can't comment on that. I don't know if they're unsmokable, but Chris hasn't managed to smoke one yet. Very interesting indeed. They are very nice. I had a very long chat with Chris, middle of the week, I think it was. We had a nice chat and put some long screws in, Andy. Yeah, we'll sort those windings out. We'll get them a bit tighter. Let's press them up with a screw. And we had a really long chat about some of the more technical stuff on them. And look, Chris didn't hide much from me at all. He's a good guy, even though, I was critical on the release, and I remain to be on that side of things. But there is some secret sauce in there. There definitely is some secret sauce in there. So I'm going to be trying them. It'll be in the next week or two, and I'll be sharing with some thoughts. It won't really be a review. Look, I think if I'm going to review a motor, I'm going to have to go through the dyno runs and things like that. Yeah, anything will boom with enough power. Yeah, it's like saying it's non-removable. Everything is removable. It just depends how hard you pull, or how sharp the knife or the blade is. Everything is burnable, but they are genuinely very, very nice. They are power hungry. Yes, apparently up to 60 amps. Although he did say to me, I did discuss the 60 amp thing, and in real world, most batteries will never provide the 60 amp. You have to remember, they are about 27 quid a motor in the UK. 27, 28 quid. That 60 amp is on very, very large 6S batteries that won't sag, that will deliver the current. Chris said to me, in real world, he doesn't believe anyone will get over 50. And even that's extreme. Because remember, your flight battery will sag. Whereas the batteries they use for their dyno testing is like a massive C rating which won't sag. I've not used, Andy said, RCM Power is interesting. Yeah, they're the manufacturer. I've had a few bearings fail. I've never used an RCM Power motor. I can't comment. I'm predominantly these days Zings and Zing 2s. What rig are they different on? When they use them on their test rig for the current measurement, they're using a big battery. Zing 2s predominantly. So what is the size of the motor? The size of the motor is 22 something by 07 something. What's the C rating worth listening? What's the C rating worth listening to? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Neil. LTO cells for testing. T-motor of all sizes. Yeah, I don't really have any T-motors either. They're up there with T-motor pricing. They're not cheap motors. I really like the Zing 2s. What I'm actually interested in is, can I see a difference between these and the Zing 2s on the same quad? And that's what I'm going to be doing. Is testing them. I'm going to be flying the Zing 2s. Ideally, I'd like 2 quads identical, but I don't have 2 identical quads, unfortunately. But yeah, I think they're a nice motor. They are expensive. They are premium. I genuinely still have some of the questions. Is it really a thing? No, C exists. How they come to the number is probably largely made up. C is definitely a thing. C is the cell's capacity to deliver, or capability to deliver current. So if you think you've got a 10 amp battery, a 10 amp battery, in theory, could do 10 amps for 1 hour, or it could do 100 amps for 10 minutes. That math's not right. Take it as a 60 amp hour battery. Let's do it that way. 60 amp hour battery. 60 amp for 1 hour or 600 amp for 1 minute. That's the theory. But the C rating determines if that is possible. It's really about the cell's capacity to deliver and accept, but deliver current at high ratings. So you could have a high cell and a low C battery, and at the C1, they'll behave exactly the same. Because remember, when we're flying our drone, we may fly with a 1500 milliamp hour pack. You're not drawing 1500 milliamp hour. You're drawing 30 amp. That's why you're getting 2-3 minutes flight time. So a high cell, I don't get why we use XT60s. They max out about 100 amps. Yeah, give or take. Yeah. But you get air cooling as well. The thing we do miss on XT60s, people say XT60 rating. Remember, the rating of an XT60 is static. When we're flying them through the air, they are naturally getting cooling. But you could melt an XT60. You could XT30 is... I've never melted an XT30. Most stable motors I've used, F60s. Yeah, they're good, the T-Motors X60s. They really are. They are pretty cool. Right. So, that's Chris's motor. Really interesting. It is a beautiful piece of kit. The thing that isn't well defined is what criteria is for C rated. Is it the maximum long-term damage? Is it full stop peak power without damage? Each manufacturer will have their own way of determining C. There is no standard. So I could come up with a method of measuring C tomorrow, and that wouldn't conform to how manufacturers do it. There's no defined standard, and two battery manufacturers will do two different ways of doing it. You could argue C is how long a battery is able to deliver its rated current at a specific voltage. Or you could say how long is, it's a complicated mess. It really is. So, before we move on, I just want to say, I would appreciate there's 230 of you here. If you haven't given it a like, what size is Chris's motor isn't 2207. It's just similar weight to 2207. It is roughly 2207. How long until it looks like a balloon? How long because it goes on fire is probably the correct term. Yeah. And does it survive? Here's a real question. Does the battery survive? Do I think we will jump onto other tech for batteries? Do you think there'll be a jump? I don't see battery tech moving that much in the next 10 years. I just don't. I think if it was, we'd have seen it already. There's lots of interesting stuff. Battery tech is always a very slow march. You keep seeing these things like saltwater battery, and you keep seeing things like graphene and all this other stuff, but it's a slow march. Simon, why is the motor size a secret? It's not so much the motor size is the secret. I had a long chat with Chris, and he told me some of the secret sauce that has gone into it, and he wants to try and keep that under his belt as long as he can. He knows it's not going to be forever, and someone will try and copy it. But you could make a motor the same size as that tomorrow, and it will not perform the same. It's not just about the motor size. I actually think Chris is playing a bit of a red herring, but with the size. I know the size. It's roughly 2207. It's roughly 2207. It's not far off. It's not a great thing. But there is some secret sauce he's put in there that he's trying to keep out of... remember the days where Ishin had a copy before the originals? Yeah. And I just think he just wants to try and keep it out for as long as he can. There's a number of things. It's not simple. It's a package, is what I would say. Why make it secret? It's not. You can buy it and measure it yourself. I just said to him, and actually, and I'll be open here, Chris, I'll be clear, Chris has not asked me to not share this data. Chris has actually said, if you want to go on and measure the motor, I am absolutely fine with that. And I have made the choice not to. If you're a member of my Discord, you can go on there and find it for yourself. It is actually on my Discord server. It's also on the Express ELRS Discord as well. It's not a big thing. You'll measure... Right. I'll say this. It's between 2.2 and 2.3, and it's between 0.7 and 0.8. It really is very close. I actually just sort of went, huh. What's all the fuss about? I was like, oh, okay. The FPV cycle Imperial is 35 grams, Supernova is 34. So 2207. Well, it is fair when it basically is 2207. No, I never even said to him I wouldn't. I just said I don't feel the need to spill it. It's on the internet if you want to find it. It's there. It's just not... If it was that much, I could measure it tomorrow and everyone would go, oh, okay. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. There is a post in the chat. Nothing to do with me. It's like, okay. It's massaged. Every motor is massaged manually by Chris Rosser himself. Oh. I'm going to finish my cold tea before we move on. Chris whispers into every single motor, be the best. You are the best. God mode. Just catching down on the chat. Okay. So, this week, I think it was this week. I've lost track of this week. It's gone a bit quick for me. There's been a lot going on. This week, Runcam announced a new camera for the original DJI FPV system. Now, this is a bit of a shock because I'd be the first to say I think that is pretty dead. However, Runcam have something for us to look at. And if we go over, let me just go there. Oh, not that one, that one. Runcam have announced the Runcam Link digital FPV kit with the Eagle HD camera. Now, this is a bit of a weird one because it's a Night Eagle camera that is designed for the original FPV system. It isn't low latency. It's designed, though, for night footage. It is 1280 by 720, 60 frames a second. And it is basically a complete night camera. And it is a little bit interesting. Now, I can't tell you a lot about it because I don't have it yet. And I'm waiting for it to come in. And I do have one coming. I also can't work out if this camera is just black and white or if it's color as well. Does anyone actually know? Because they do an Eagle camera and an Eagle night camera. What am I actually being sent? Let me just check. A Night Eagle. So I'm getting the Night Eagle. So, I don't know, has anyone tried this yet? Is there any videos on this? There's old videos, but there's nothing new on this at all. So no one's got these yet then, by the looks of it. Don't know the video they put out. So have they put a video out? Have Runcam done a video? I haven't seen one. There's your analog version review, Andy. Ah, there's a video on the webpage. Is there? Right. Okay, let's have a look. Aha. Okay, so let's have a look. Not sure what that was then. Google Pixel 8, look. Someone's been talking about the Pixel a lot. So, here we go. Shenzhen. It's pretty dark. So, the Runcam Night Eagle. So, it's a black and white camera, this is. So, does it do colour in the daytime or not? Anyone know? So, this is a full black and white night camera. I think I prefer the one on the right. Is it me or... The Night Eagle... It does colour in the day. Ah, that's good news. Is it me? Or is the right camera better? Okay, that's better. That's better. Was monochrome, black and white, day or night? Yeah. I'm gonna have to try this, obviously. Look, it's a different animal, but has motion blur. Okay, so when it goes into complete dark, it looks okay. Exposure lock-in. Yeah, it could be. I still prefer that one so far. Let's just get through a bit more. I'm not being funny, right? I'm not sure they have. That's... What's the camera on the right? It says Runcam Night Cam. I can only think of one good reason you would want to sell a black and white night style camera right now, and it isn't to ship it to Western Europe. I'm not sure how I feel on that. Someone said go to 6 minutes. There is no 6 minutes. Go to 6:30 on the video. I can't go to 6:30. There is no 6:30. I suppose, look, everything you're seeing is right. It's for Amazon delivery packages. Yes, Amazon delivery packages. In Ukraine. Look, I'm going to have to try it for myself. I don't know. Like, I'm just giving some observations from what I'm seeing initially here. And it could be that I'm not fully understanding what we want the camera to do. Small IR cam would be funny. Yeah. Look, there is no question there is more detail in the left-hand cam. If you look, all of this has blurred out, whereas the detail is there. But we're all used to it being colour. See, you can see there. But here's interesting. See, you can see that gap there. You could aim and want to go through that. Here, that doesn't look visible. But it does look very good like that. Strange. There are definitely scenarios where you may want less smearing. It does look very nice. Yeah. I guess you also got to get used to how a black and white camera looks as well. You've definitely got to get used to it. It's definitely got more detail. There's more detail in it, for sure. But let me just go back there. See, if you look at the branches, but you're seeing the same thing. Interesting. Anyway, I've got one coming. We will have a look at what it's like. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more detail flying monochrome. Yeah. Are they flying at the same time? Yeah, they look like they were on the same aircraft. They looked like they were flying both. I'm going to have to build a dual flying rig again. I haven't had one for a while. No, and it's... I'm not going to be the best person to show you that either. But look, we'll do some tests and we'll see how it is. There's definitely a market for it, but in some ways I thought I'm naturally more being drawn to the color cam, but that's because that's what we're used to. So $77 just a camera. I don't know. Let's have a look, shall we? So price wise, the store. Let's go on that. No, Runcam link digital FPV unit. Yeah, that must be just the camera. Is that the camera? Is that both? Let's just have a look here. Is that with the A unit for $72? That seems very cheap. Scroll back down. It says both. One EU lit link and camera. Yeah, look, that's the whole kit. That can't be right. Oh, wait a minute. Have we got to select an option, right? Let's have a look. Ah, no, right. Night Eagle camera. 72, 160 with the kit. That's more like it. Sorry, that had me confused as well then. Welcome back, chat, at some point today. Thank you very much. Where's my debit card? Okay. So, that's the subjects that I've got for tonight's live stream. If you guys have any questions, now is the time to put them in the chat. As I've said, I'd appreciate it if you gave us a like. We are on... Oh, something else is broke. Look, the thing along the bottom. Oh, no, it's coming back. There it comes. Choo-choo. I feel like everyone smashed Runcam's website. So if you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat. I'll try and answer them. Coming up on the channel this week. When is HDZero V2 gonna ship out? I don't know. I've not heard, Robert. Have they not shipped yet? The Freestyle V2, I assume. I haven't heard. Thanks for your help on Facebook this week with Walksnail goggles. Hoping to hear from Cadex. Yeah, you have a really odd issue, Simon. You know that file you have with your additional data on? Can you share that on my Discord so I can have a look? I would like to... just got notified they shipped. Right. I would like to have a look at that file if you have it. Not the video, but the file you had from the additional testing. And for those who don't know, this gentleman's having a really... Like, he's getting like no range on Avatar HD. And I mean like 10, 20 meters. And we know the goggles look right in the sense of the antenna connections are right and everything looks good. Something is off on it. And we're trying to understand, is it VTX side or is it goggle side? I'm more interested in watching... What you're really looking for is this. Which one goes first? Does the ground or the goggle side fail first? But I thought, did you not do the STR file with the extra data in? Why does the Vista on Goggles 2 have less range than the V2? It doesn't. It should have more. People have flown the Vista to as much as 30 kilometers. The one thing you need to understand, though, is the RF power isn't necessarily the same. So when you install... let me just move that mic down. When you install the O3 firmware, it behaves like O3. And I'm not convinced you get 100% the same 1200 milliwatts of output. Yeah, I'll sort it tomorrow. No problem at all. I'm just not sure you get the full same RF output. What I do know, isn't it 700 milliwatts? No, we don't know. Look, I have said this before and I'll say it again. There is no accurate way of measuring the RF output on these systems with regards to an actual RF power level. Now, I can give you an indication of how much power one system is pushing versus another. What we don't fully understand with O3 is its dynamic behavior, because you can't test that on the bench easily. DJI state that O3 will go up to 33 dBm. And that is all we know. What you can't do is, look, there is no way to accurately measure a digital FPV system. There just isn't. you need a 30 grand plus VNA to do it. No amount of DIY in this will get you the right numbers. All I know is my vistas are terrible on the wing with goggles 2 compared to 03. Never had an issue. Interesting, because I know, we've had people put them to 30 kilometers. I will do some more testing. You would need a 30 grand VNA and a golden sample, which is not easy to get hold of. Because remember, a VNA is calibrated against a golden sample. So when they measure, and this is the bit people don't even understand, right? DJI's own RF testing for FCC certification has a plus minus of 2 dB accuracy. The difference, 2 dB difference at 30 dBm is the difference between roughly 780 milliwatts and 1 watt. That is a 200 watt difference plus in run-to-run variance. The accuracy for full FCC certification has an accuracy of plus minus, say, 200 to 300 milliwatts. You're not measuring percentage of power. That is in the FCC certification. 200 milliwatts. Yeah, not 200 watts. I keep saying that. When you are talking the difference, it's not measurable. It's just not, because when you actually measure for FCC certification, so what you do is it goes into a 30 grand VNA, which knows the type of modulation type, and here's how it's actually done. This is the bit people don't really grasp. So the transmitter is put into a special test mode with a very specific carrier type, with a very specific setup. That then is measured against a golden sample. The golden sample is the certified, think of it like a certified weight, exactly 1 kilo. And that is what it's measured against, but only in that test mode, only in that specific setup. You cannot measure these systems in the real world to get the same numbers. Now, could you take 2 vistas? I have a 6 grand spectrum analyzer here. Could you take 2 vistas and try to have an understanding of how much RF power they are similarly? I could tell you within a dB if they're within a dB, but that tells us nothing. Because remember, your system, when it's working, is not transmitting continuously. It's not like an analog carrier that has a fixed amplitude that you are measuring. It is a switching carrier that is constantly pulsing, that is constantly changing. You just cannot get accurate numbers. You just can't. Can you tell the difference between Andy's main that? So can we just tell our drone police we're trying at 25 milliwatts? Can we see the difference between 25 milliwatts and 1,000 milliwatts? Yes. Can you see the difference between 800 milliwatts and 1 watt? Not really. You just really won't see it. The only test is it works in real life or it doesn't. That is a very good point, Hangtime FPV. Yeah. Physical RF measurement on the bench largely means nothing. Look, I have charts with all of the power data I've measured on the analyzer already. I've had them for 2 years. I've never shared them. Why? Because they're not important. They're not representative. I can give you numbers, but it's not accurate and it doesn't mean anything. So I can say this Vista is 1.5 dB more power than 03 or less power than 03, but we don't know what that power is. And 1.5 dB is not the same. It's logarithmic. It's not the same at different power levels. 1.5 dB, if the power level was 200 milliwatts, is not the same amount of power difference as 1.5 dB at 30 dBm or 1000 milliwatts. It's all about context. And that's why I'm saying 2 dB of measurement accuracy at 30 to 33 dBm. It's actually 2 dB of measurement accuracy at 33 dBm is what it is. This is a crazily complex subject, and there is a reason why I have never published the data. Now, Chris, I'll acknowledge, has done some really interesting testing. You should ignore the numbers. I've told everyone this. Chris, look, you cannot be the numbers on anything. And the way he's measuring it is, it's not wrong, but it's not fully representative of everything. He's using RF power sensors that may have a 1 to 2 dB accuracy issue, even on run-to-run. It's really, really hard to do this. It's really, really hard to do this. Propagation is not measurable. No, it's a good point. Sorry, my cold is giving me issues. I've had a cold for a week. Are there any examples of battery carriages? You could swap a LiPo like a DJI battery rather than messing with a loose XT cable. I've not seen anything for FPV. FPV Steve. Easy UHF, yeah. Allegedly, cough, cough. All behave a little bit differently in regard to video performance. It depends on 1,000 things. Your battery is your... Do you know what your biggest effect on your video performance? Let me show you something. Let me get a battery. Biggest effect on video performance, your battery. I promise you that. So, Avatar HD Quad, overhead. Been flying this today. Can't imagine why I've been flying this today. So, stock Cadex Walksnail antenna. This is a Chris Rosser frame, actually. It's got the Pro camera, the V2 VTX, AOS 5. Very nice frame. Stock Walksnail camera in the bracket at the back, right? Fully stock, pretty much has these come. Mount the battery. Let me just show this. So we're going to put the battery in the straps. A minute. Straps come loose. So, let's go to the overhead again. Now look at the battery. Look how much your battery is having an impact on the line of sight. So, we don't fly like that, we fly like that, correct? But remember, so your quad's in the air, this is propagating like a donut, but you're going to be down here. So if we put that there, you're down like height-wise, you're down here somewhere. Even at best, you're like that. You're still completely blocked by that battery when flying towards yourself. Your antenna position is probably the biggest impact on your battery position, and antenna is the biggest impact on your quad's performance. Number one, by a country mile. And that is thing, you know, before we start pushing more power, this is the kind of stuff that you really need to be working on to get the very best from your quad. If you mount the antenna where I just suggested, it would be the biggest impact in a crash. Yeah, that's the problem. You know, there is no good solution. Now, I actually do like dual antenna VTXs for this reason, because the nice thing with the dual antenna VTX is you can actually have another one like here, like, you know, on the DJIs, you can actually have the Y pattern, and that does help a little bit. But your battery here is like the real #1 issue. You know, really, we want antennas up here is what we need. With dual mount on the arms. Yeah, dual mount on the arms is good. Longer antennas on long range will do wonders. It does. But look, you know, this is the kind of thing that comes stock today. This is how many people are building up their quads. This is an AOS 5 stock antenna. It is not set up for the best possible signal. And actually, I had a real funny one today. Let me cue this up to show quickly. I need to be careful here because this video is in a folder. Let me just do something and close some things. Let me put the SD card in. I love winding people up. Let me just desktop. So, I've got this strange issue where my SD card keeps bringing the folder back open, and I don't know why. I had a fail safe today, a funny one up here. You'll see it in a minute, right? The quad actually drops. I turn and I get, did you see that there? I had an RC failsafe on Express ELRS. Let me just show you that again. As I come around, you'll see that it RC failsafes for some reason. And I think I hit the nulls on the Express ELRS antenna. There. Did you see it? Yeah, it was twitchy bum over water. Yeah, it definitely was twitchy bum over water. But you can see the quad catch itself. It made me laugh. You can see that it sort of hot. It caught and it came around, and it was twitchy bum territory. I promise you that. It was definitely twitchy bum. Big time twitchy bum. Let me just show you something else a minute. Yeah, it was definitely twitchy bum. What can we see in the distance behind my chair? Which side? Where are you looking? Hand one or fingers 1 or 2? Which right? 2. I don't know. What can you see? There's a camera, a box from Radio Master, a box with an analog digi adapter box. There's not a lot there. I was asking to see the distance value on the OSD in the video. No, thank you. Sorry. It was actually the distance flown. Yeah, that was pass. Why 50,000 packets a second? What's under the table? Lots of things under the table. Ah. Yeah, I think I hit the null on the antenna. It was this quad. It was this quad. And I think I hit the nulls on the antenna. Genuinely, I think I hit the null. Yeah, I do. I do think I hit the null on the antenna on that one. The video bit rate. The bit that was just catching down on the chat. Right. We're going to get ready to finish this one up. I'm going to put the chat back up. It is getting late. Yes, I was flying over a lot of water today, and it always is. Yeah, it's not a great location, that. It needs moving. It's not bad, but I strapped it down there at the way. Probably need to move it up front. I always used to like the antennas up front, but at the moment I've just got it there hanging at the side. Oh, have I missed a super chat from someone? Let me do that before we finish up. Viewer activity. Right. Oh, Tony Horn. Sorry about that. I do apologise. We've got two, in fact. We've got Flickr FPV, $7.77. Something on, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I appreciate the super chat. Tony Horn, have you noticed 04 on the Mini 4 is stating double the range of 03? Yes. DJI tend to. It's mostly because of the additional antennas and RF range. Remember, 04 has up to 6 antennas. So DJI are doing some magic with the antenna input. But they're not using 6 antennas on the Mini 4. They're only using 4. They're using 6 on the A3, but 4 on the Mini 4. But yeah, they've been tweaking the software. But it's a new RF setup as well. 04 is a whole new RF chipset. Megabits look good. Does quad racing exist in the UK? Yes, just not near me. If I upgraded goggles version 2 to the newest version, will still work with the FCC hack? Yes, DJI have never disabled the FCC hacks. They all work exactly the same as they always have. Right. I'm going to call it a night from that one. I want to thank you all for spending some time with me. Upcoming this week is... I'm trying to think. There isn't a great quantity of coming this week. And whilst I do try to publish on a Monday, I don't think I've got anything I can have finished tomorrow. Although I do have a subject I want to talk about. So you might get a talking head video tomorrow. As for the rest of the week, who knows? You're going to have to wait and see. Will 04 be backwards compatible? That's down to DJI. We just don't know. Kerry, we don't know. It can be. Will they? Who knows? And on that subject, look after yourselves. Thank you for all of the time you spent with me. The super chat. Stay safe. We will be back same time, same place next week where we might have something to talk about. Later.